Well, we're going. Well, I'm going to analyze the video that, if I'm not wrong, is called "Why the countries are why some countries are poor and other rich." Well, this video show us that the percentage of countries that are extremely poor is bigger or higher than the percentage of countries that are rich. This is analyzed in base of the amount of wealth that each country can accumulate, and how much do each person gain in every day. Mostly in rich countries, people can obtain a total of $1,000 per year, but in poor countries, people obtain less than $3 a day. The video explains that the problems of poverty are based in in three three basic concepts or main ideas. The first one are institutions. Sorry, institutions. Mostly by the problem of corruption, because as the as the as the country is poor, it tends to have more problems with corruption. Um, these problems are basically that corruption tends to affect all the institutions the country, making that it cannot progress in terms of education, um, transport, um, uh, politics, because all the money that are invested in these countries tend to be robbed, causing that mostly per year 10 to 20 billion of dollars being being robbed. The second problem is culture. Culture in terms of religion. The video explains that uh, um, countries that are more poor tend to be more religious, because they don't see that the problems will solve, like, from one day to another, but they think or believe that some entity or some god, if we can call it like that, will solve all their problems, uh, and will solve all their necessities. Mm, while rich countries tend to do the opposite. They believe that the hard work and the knowledge and the capacity of the people is what makes that the country evolve and make it more sustainable. And the third and last problem is geography. This is the most important problem, as geography affects mostly um, all the countries or the continents that are at the south of the world, all the countries that have tropical temperatures or tropical climate. This is because the soil tend to be less fertile than the ones that are in the rich countries. Um, Cases in, like, in Africa, they only have one river to sustain um, 11 or 16 countries that are extremely poor. This also causes that the people are are affected more by um, are affected more by problems of health, like parasites, problems with, I don't know, um, digestive problems, fever, um, mental health, and also cause problems as desnutrition in kids, as the produced by the lack of food. Well, um, what I think is that these problems are, well, the video explains that these problems are the three main um, conflicts that the world have to uh, find a solution to end world poverty, and I agree with that. Why? Because mm, geography. If the country have uh, bad geography, that is in the case of mostly African people, uh, most of the soil is infertile. They can't produce food. They can make treaties with other countries to gain sustainable like products that help to maintain the population. Also, the corruption. Uh, it is like ironic that poor countries have like um, important elements like oil or precious metals, and they tend to be so poor because the money that they can obtain by conversating with other countries um, with these items is robbed. And the culture, maybe I can disagree with that aspect, not only by religion, by but other aspects as the education are important in terms of culture, because these affect in a very like important way. I think that corruption is a problem that is always seen in mostly countries. It's a problem that it appears in daily news. We see politics that are arrested by finding some cases of corruption in their campaigns. So I think that maybe um, powerful countries can help poor countries in terms of um, trying to like um, like take down the government that is in this moment, that have so problems in corruption, and try to ascend a president or a politic that can make sure that the economic problems, or well, that there will not be problems with corruption. But this is so difficult as every country have um, their um, their own like ambitions, and if the country changes, maybe the politics may change, and the benefits benefits that they can obtain from that country may be affected.
Well, the article I read in this case was about bringing people to jobs instead of bringing jobs to the people. Well, you can easily like analyze and interpret what the article is about. Basically, governments want to, for a period of time, that the period of time what I'm talking about is about when farmers plant their crops and their harvest. They they plant them and they need to for them to grow so they can sell them, and that period of time is called a lean period of time, and this happens all around the world. The problem with this is that while the crops are growing, well, obviously the farmers can't harvest, and they have many problems with money because they are not selling anything. So the governments what are trying to do, basically in all the world, is making a rural progress in, and for example make constructions or give jobs to the people that they live where they farm, that usually is I don't know, maybe 10, 11 hours in car or in bus to travel from the city, and make them jobs so they, while this lean period of time, can gain some money. So what is the problem with this? I see that well, first of all, for governments it would be a very hard work and a very I think stupid, for not sounding mean, way, so people can get money, because um, all the works, all the studies, or all the money that they have to invest to make only work a few people. Although it is important, I think it is important, but for a few people risk all that money, and I don't know if we don't know if that's going to end well. For example, the construction side or something. So the government may lose money. So what the author is trying to do is say, why instead of bringing jobs to the people, we bring people to jobs? What does it mean by that? If we have I don't know, maybe one farmer that is living 10, 11 hours and from the city, and doesn't have the time like to go work and then come back to its home, why don't subside or make give them money so they can live during that lean period of time in the city and work in construction site or public works? I think that is much more cheaper and less with less effort, the and more a viable solution, because, well, first of all, people don't need to wait for the for the for example the program they are doing in their environment, to make them studies, and then I agree with the people if they can do that in the environment they live, and then begin the construction, and then the materials and all of that is a very dispendious and very stressful way to make people or farmers get money. Instead of that, they can, for example, farmers go live in, for example, 5 months, 1 year, that the lean period of time that they're not harvesting. So I think it's a more viable way and a very much more unstressful solution than just make a construction 11, 12 hours from the city and all the materials they have to get over there and public jobs. I think it's a better way, although it also depends about where the people live, because if there's no like high levels of urban work, well, they are not going to the subside or the money the government they're giving them to live or their own work over 3 5 months is not going to take any effect on that. So I think it's a better idea also.